everyone. Welcome back to episode 3 of What's the Point? Podcast by First Point Media, where we bring you stories directly from individuals making an impact in our community. And today, we have someone from the world of physiotherapy who is redefining patient care with a deeply personal approach. Her journey in physiotherapy is unconventional, but her impact is undeniable. Lara, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
So, as we start, can you share about yourself, your journey before co-founding KINETIKA?
So I didn't start in physiotherapy. I don't have a healthcare background. I started in strategic communications, and that's what I did for the better part of a decade. And I worked mainly on crafting narratives and building brands, and that was amazing. Mainly because I have a deep fascination with human behavior, what motivates people, what triggers them, how we adapt, mind-body connection, all that stuff. Very fascinating to me.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my background before KINETIKA.
Wow, that's interesting. So, coming from a strategic communications background, what inspired your transition in the world of physiotherapy?
Okay, so totally unrelated, very personal. My husband had to do a surgery that led to nothing major, but major in our lives.
Right.
And it led to physiotherapy. And so obviously I accompanied him on that journey for better or worse. And I got to learn a lot. So I saw that whole process, the recovery. I saw what we missed out on. We at that point in time, we were not recommended to do any pre-surgery support.
Right.
So we could have done a lot of rehabilitation. We could have done a lot more that we didn't have the information at the time to do. But on that journey, it really opened my eyes to the power of physiotherapy. So obviously very personal. And we co-founded this business together. So it was really his idea. It was through that experience that he decided he wanted to do something different as a patient.
Right.
He wanted to bring a different style of care to that world that was so crucial. And I would even go as far as saying at that point in time for us, the rehabilitation was even more important than the surgery itself. Surgeons are amazing. They do a beautiful job, but it's a very short moment in time that you spend with them. And then you spend a lot of time with your therapist. And that journey back to mobility and functionality is actually with them and your physician. So it was really eye-opening. And when I say I was very close to understanding the power of that transformation, it was because I didn't go through it myself, but I accompanied him on that journey. And that's what actually started KINETIKA, or the idea of KINETIKA.
Wow, that's really interesting, and thank you so much for sharing. So KINETIKA is already making a name in Dubai. What sets it apart from other physiotherapy clinics, and what were the challenges you faced during its launch?
Okay, so thank you. We are working very hard. I think there's a couple of things that make it so far successful. We are still working very hard. We haven't reached our goals yet. But we are definitely very invested in deep understanding and expertise, whether it's of physiotherapy or of the human anatomy. So that's really core to what we're doing. We are also deeply invested in patient-centric care. So that is a real focus on the patient journey and everything that accompanies the patient, which I would say Dubai in general is pretty good at. We are we're very lucky in Dubai because it's such a competitive market.
Yeah.
There is so much room for innovation and growth, and everybody's really focused on client is king and patient care. So I think that's already being done well. We're just trying to take it to the next level. And also a very unique hands-on approach. So again, in Dubai, we're at the forefront of technology and innovation here. And so I think every clinic that you go to, or most clinics at least, they have a lot of technology, devices, machines, and that's very important. But that doesn't replace a hands-on manual approach, which is very, very key to what we do and what we offer.
The personal touch, right?
Absolutely. And so the focus is more on the hands-on methodology and the devices and the technology support that. And I think the major difference there is keeping that connection with your client and your patient.
Yeah.
When the device is doing the work for you, or you put a patient on a machine and you leave them, you've lost that connection. So if we go back and we think about how important the mind-body connection is, that's very key and that's important. So hopefully we continue to do that, and that's really at the forefront of how we run the business.
Yes, that sounds great. And speaking of physiotherapy, physiotherapy is often, misunderstood. What is the one major misconception you wish more people understood about physiotherapy?
I think physiotherapy is really linked to pain.
Yeah.
I think that's the only thing people think about.
Yes.
And it is a big concern, and absolutely yes. But that's not all physiotherapy is. I think pain is very important. You can't undermine what that means to the human body and to the psyche. But physiotherapy also plays a very strong role in preventive medicine, which is now the latest trend.
Right.
It's the latest trend, but it's not a fad. So everything related to preventive medicine or anti-aging, one of my favorite topics, can't deny, all of those come into play. So physiotherapy allows you to have a deeper understanding of your body, better functionality, and better mobility. So it's not just about pain or injury. It's not just that focus, even though that's the journey that got me to physio.
Right.
Now I've discovered there's a whole world out there that people can benefit from physiotherapy.
That's great, Lara, which brings me to my next question. Most people think physio is something for muscle and joint pain, but I recently learned that it can also help with vertigo. Can you explain how physiotherapy plays a role in treating vertigo and balance disorders?
Yeah, it does have a major role to play. So we have an amazing specialist at KINETIKA. She's so talented. And she has basically devoted her career now to balance coordination issues. And it's called basically vestibular rehabilitation.
Right.
What happens is sometimes the discussion between your inner ear and your brain, it somehow gets disrupted. Without going into technical stuff, our specialist will tell you in more detail. But she has basically techniques to let that discussion happen better again. Because it's the inner ear and the brain that is controlling your balance.
Right.
Now, vertigo is a big issue, or actually, you know what, balance, dizziness, those kind of disorders are a big issue because you're seeing them across the board. You can see them with kids, you can see them with adolescents, you can see them with, older adults. You see them with a lot of people. My mom also has this issue. So I wish our specialist could treat her. I've got to bring her from Sydney. But so yeah, it's very serious. It can really damage your life. It can really damage your quality of life because you feel always nervous to walk on your own. Certain patterns in the environment make you more dizzy, make you lose more balance.
Right.
So there are techniques that can help people. And definitely, if you experience any of these, definitely I would recommend to reach out to us. Book at least a consultation because then you'll see if you are eligible for this kind of treatment.
So, Lara, next question. Pregnancy puts a lot of stress on the body, from back pain to posture changes to sciatica. How can physiotherapy help expected and postpartum mothers?
Yeah, so women and mothers are heroes. They really endure a lot. They're amazing. It's a beautiful part of their life. It's a beautiful chapter that a woman can go through, but it is exhausting on the body.
Yeah.
It's a lot of trauma, a lot of heaviness. Most women do have a lot of complications and symptoms, and thank God they're most of the time nothing very serious, but they can be managed and they can be treated. So there are definitely modalities. One of our specialists, amazing therapist, she is dedicating all of her studies and her specialization for women's health and the pelvic floor.
Right.
So we have a program for pregnant women, and what we do is we provide a lot of education and a lot of support antenatal so that we can really prepare her and her body for the pregnancy and for a smoother, hopefully, pregnancy.
Yeah.
And then we have also the postnatal support, whereby we can work on re-improving the intimate area and tightening up that area, because obviously childbirth is quite tough on a woman, and many women will then face certain complications and certain discomfort,
Right.
let's say, and sometimes an inability to hold your bladder.
Yeah.
So being able to do that physiotherapy, even if you have a surgery, even if you have that type of intervention, which is already quite tough on the body, you still need to do the physiotherapy to help you get everything solid again and just getting things back to where they were previous to pregnancy.
Yeah.
And that really improves quality of life. So I know a lot of women, it can influence their social life because they don't want to go out as much because they need to use the bathroom all the time, or you know, and it can also influence their personal life with their partner. So it's something really serious, and I know that we don't always feel comfortable talking about it in the Middle East in general, but it is serious, and no one has to live like that. And our therapist, she's brilliant. Everybody that meets her is in love with her. Everybody that she works with, everybody that she lays hands on, so many people say she has magic hands. And the education that she offers and the empathy and the care, it's just outstanding. I don't think that women need to live like that. And I think there's so much that can be improved in that quality of life. And already being a mother is such an amazing, beautiful and wonderful experience. Like, let's make sure that experience doesn't take away that freedom and that quality of life too.
Can you share a memorable success story that reinforced your belief in what KINETIKA is doing?
One? Okay. No, so there's been a lot of nice stories, and they range. There's a lot that are very different. Some that have vertigo or dizziness and imbalance.
Wow.
It's nice to see them now being able to walk freely, hike again, do all the things they love and recover. So that's amazing. We have another case where we have a cancer survivor that we've been dealing with pain management for with the support of physiotherapy. So that's been excellent.
Wow.
But there's one case that really stood out to me because I'm someone that I love massages.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge fan of physiotherapy. I probably get a session like any chance I can get. I'll go in, I'll get a session, I'll get realigned, get everything fixed up again. I have a lot of jet lag, like a lot of people in Dubai, traveling back and forth. So that helps me a lot. But I also discovered in this journey that there are people out there that don't like to be touched at all. I was like, wow, that is a challenge, because if you're coming to do physiotherapy, you need to be touched.
Exactly.
And so what was really impressive to me was we convinced this person, a lovely patient who now has become a friend, to just try one session with a female therapist. Try letting her touch you. If you don't feel good after that, because she had a lot of issues she was dealing with postnatal, so after delivering her baby, just was dealing with a lot of swelling, a lot of irritation, like heaviness in the body, pains in the joints, things that you just don't want to ignore and you don't want to live with. You don't need to live like that. And so allowed the therapist to do one session with her. After that session was like reformed.
Wow.
She's like, I've never felt this good in my life. Oh my God, this is amazing. What is this? And it was a big shock for me, because I do have a lot of respect for people that are maybe anxious or have a certain phobia or just don't like a certain, thing.
Yeah.
And so this person totally reformed. Has recommended so many patients to us now, did the full protocol, feels fabulous in her skin, feels good. And when you see people like that they were even battling something psychologically.
Correct, yeah.
And physiotherapy and the treatment that we gave them was helping them to overcome this. It was amazing. It was really surprising, and it was really nice. So I always think of her when I think of other patients, when I think of what we can do, how we can change people's lives. She even said, by her own words, she said, I started to become more social. I want to go out more. I want to spend more time with my friends.
Gain
I
back
want
her
to,
confidence.
yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
So that was really, really nice to see. And that's the hope. That's what we want. When we talk about treating people and we talk about improving their quality of life through physiotherapy and through other modalities, this is the result. This is what we want. We want them to go back, to be functioning, to be happy, to be fulfilled. And that's why it's so important to also include that big component of empathy among the team, in your practice and in your culture. Because if you don't have it in the culture, in the clinic every single day, then there's no way you can pass that on to the therapist, to pass on to the patients.
Yeah. Empathy goes a long way. That's
such a long way. Such a long way.
Yeah. And so what innovative techniques and technologies is KINETIKA using to enhance patient care?
Okay, so I agree. Technology, innovation, it's all so important, and we need to be at the forefront of that. But technology never, ever will replace the hands-on modality of a therapist touching you and taking care of you. And when I say that, I mean by a skilled therapist that has the understanding of the human anatomy memorized in every cell in their brain, in every being in them. I'm very lucky that I have a fantastic team. We couldn't have done this without them. The therapists, even the back office, the support, they're all really at the top of their game. They're very impressive. And I'm very grateful that we have that kind of team, because I know that with this type of a team, that's how you change lives. And that's how you really fulfill your mission.
Yeah.
There are other businesses where you can rely on the screen or technology or trends or analysis. Not this. This, you're relying on people. Right. So the technology is important, and we have all the nice shiny gadgets, and I love gadgets, so we buy all the new stuff. But it doesn't replace the hands-on methodology. It will never replace it. They will always be complementary to each other.
Nice. That's really amazing to know how KINETIKA is people-centric, and that's great.
You know, actually, another thing that happened to us with my husband on our journey, because of our lifestyle, because of his work demands, we actually ended up doing physiotherapy in about 4 different regions.
Okay.
So we did in Europe, we did in Lebanon, we did in Dubai, and we did in Australia. And I think we did also in Saudi. So we moved around a lot at that time, because the recovery process is long, sadly, for for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And we got to experience physiotherapy in so many different places. And one of the overriding comments that he kept making about how happy he was about how much quality time the therapist spent with him. And even though we were with amazing people, because we hadn't built KINETIKA yet, we had an amazing team around us of people that were supporting him, he still experienced moments where he was left alone in a room on a device. Right. And he would not go back. He would not go back when they left him alone and they put him on the device, and he was just sitting there alone for like 45 minutes. And so no matter how good and skilled you are, you can't do that. You cannot. That journey for that patient at that point in their life is so important that it needs to have that human connection.
So true. And it's so personal. We need someone. We need a human touch to explain. That's great. So now, Lara, we'll move to another segment of our show, where we actually go around asking our viewers, and we see online what are the common questions people would want to know in the world of physiotherapy.
Okay.
So what's a body red flag people should never ignore?
I want to say probably what I see in a lot of men, and now we're seeing in women too, we just have to stop ignoring pain. We have to stop numbing pain. Look, there are major red flags that any doctor will tell you about. Don't ignore if you have numbing, tingling, if you have shortness of breath, if you have difficulty breathing. Those things we take, obviously.
Of course.
But in terms of what we see also in the physiotherapy and healthcare world, people need to stop ignoring pain and stop numbing pain. So what we were talking about before with the Botox and other mechanisms, that for me is a big red flag. I think people kind of like feel, I've seen it
Yes.
with loved ones.
Yeah.
They suddenly have this major back pain. And then I say, okay, let's do a session, let's do this. And they're like, oh, no, it will go away tomorrow.
We'll
I'm like, that's
apply the
very
cream.
scary that
you'll
you're
be
so
fine.
sure it will go away. I'm like,
Yes.
where is it going to go? It's going to go somewhere else.
True.
So I don't think that for me is the red flag. Like, stop ignoring your pain. And stop trying to numb the pain. Let's just face it head on. You keep burying that and it's going to come back and bite you hard.
Yeah, that's so true. We just apply the cream and then we say that, okay, it will
Yeah, we're
go
like,
away. But
it'll be
it comes
fine.
back in another form.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, next question. So what's the most common bad posture mistake everyone makes?
God, I do them all. Oh,
Sitting.
okay.
Straight.
Yeah, I know,
Okay.
right? So now the biggest one that we're all doing, I'm like so bad at this, and I see my nephew and really young kids, is the tech neck,
Oh, yeah.
where we're all looking at our phone like
Yes.
this, so we're constantly in there. It's really bad. It's really one of the worst. And then there's the slouching, there's the sitting for too long. There's all those classics, but I think now we're seeing this phenomena of the tech neck. It's really bad. It's really tough.
Okay. And if you had to ever ban one exercise forever because it's bad for most people, what would it be? It's just
I will ban burpees because I hate them. Okay?
Yes.
Burpees are out. No, I'm kidding. It's not about a particular exercise. I think it's more about bad technique or bad form. I don't know what you want to call it. I really believe it benefits you to really learn good technique. And nothing is bad unless you're doing it wrong. So everything can be great. Like even if you're sitting and you're in the right position, it's fine. Okay, we're sitting in a bad position. So this is another no-no. I'm always told I'm not allowed to keep crossing my legs, but I can't help it. Yeah,
I'm doing the same.
just doing in the same position all the time. Bad technique. That's the biggest problem. So squats are amazing, but you do them wrong.
Yeah.
Best case scenario, they do nothing for you. That's the best case. Worst case is that you start injuring yourself and you send an injury up to the rest of your body. So good technique is more important than anything else.
Okay. And what would be one small daily habit people can adapt to prevent long-term injuries?
One small daily habit to prevent movement. Movement. Look, life is difficult now. We spend a lot of time sitting. We spend a lot of time behind computers. In Dubai, we spend a lot of time in traffic, just hanging out in the Uber or the back of a car. So it's a lot of time sitting. So the best thing for any of us, easiest, cheapest trick, just to get up, walk around, few minutes every hour, every 45 minutes. It's not rocket science.
Okay.
I'm sure that there's more fancy things that we can do. Exercising, foam rolling, meditating, breath work. These are all beautiful things. Breath work, very easy to do throughout the day also. But I think movement is...
So, Lara, what is the most surprising thing you've learned about the human body?
Okay, so this is going to sound so strange, but the feet are like the most important part of your body. Everything's important, everything is, functioning and everything has its place. But the feet, in terms of like physiotherapy, in terms of balance, posture, coordination, everything, it is unbelievable how important feet are. When your muscles are too tight and they're not like loose and there's too much compression, it will come into your knee, it will come into your lower back, it will come into your traps. Like it is insane. And I learned this firsthand. I have like a little thing in my hamstring. It's bothering me. Turned out it comes from my feet. You try to convince a patient that their lower back pain is because of their feet. They think you're crazy. Like no one will believe you, but it is amazing. So one of our specialists, we now specializing in podiatry and insoles, because it is crazy to me to find out that most of our problems are starting with our feet. It's so interesting.
That's insane. So as we come to an end of our talk, what advice would you give someone looking to shift industries like you did earlier?
Well, I was very lucky that I learned a lot of transferable skills. So I worked in a very, very kind of different, industry. And I'm naturally, I would say I'm a bit of a nerd. I just like learning about everything.
That's nice.
And so, it's kind of nice. I don't know how nice it is for other people around me, but it's nice for me. So I guess my advice to them is just to learn. I had a very strong learning curve in KINETIKA. I still do. One of my challenges is I'm not from the industry, so I had to learn a lot more that, it came naturally to other people. I'm not scared to ask for help. I'm also not scared to look a bit silly. I don't know if that's a positive all the time, but I think it's good in terms of being able to learn. Because I don't mind not being the smartest person in the room or even on the table. I have a team that knows they're younger than me. They technically have less experience than me, but they know physiotherapy 10 times more than me. So most of the time I'm just quiet and I listen. And I ask a lot of questions. I ask the right questions. And I love learning. I think if you love learning, you can do almost anything, as long as you have a passion for it. I have a passion for healthcare. I have a passion for this world, to understand more about that mind-body connection. So I've made it something that I care about. And so learning is just easy. It's seamless. It's not hard. I think it's really hard if you put me into a world that I just don't enjoy, like finance. I respect finance a lot.
Yeah.
And my husband is very good at it. I just don't, it's not my thing. You can talk for hours to me and it's just going to go over my head.
And before we wrap up, what's next for KINETIKA? Where can we hear more about KINETIKA and how can we get in touch?
Yeah, so I would love for everyone to get in touch. Instagram. Instagram's amazing. We're very communicative there. On our WhatsApp, on our website. We love talking to patients and non-patients, and we love to educate. So this is a big thing for us. And the team is always going to workshops and conferences and learning. So we need them always to be at the forefront, and the best way to do that is through discussions and collaborations. So absolutely, just invite anyone to come to our Instagram and website. And what's next for KINETIKA? I would say definitely doubling down on our mission, on our values, making sure that we're still putting patient-centric care at the forefront of everything that we do, building that team culture that we love and believe in so that we can also spread our values a lot easier. And the next step would be to physically expand. So right now we have one location in Dubai Hills.
Okay.
And we are very much focused on sports and musculoskeletal injuries.
Right.
Very much focused on vestibular, what we talked about, the vertigo
thing,
dizziness, balance disorders, pelvic floor, pelvic health, women's health. And we also have special programs for seniors. Because, again, KINETIKA can really help with the quality of life. So we have different types of programs, and I think we'll continue to expand those. So physically, we'll start to move outside of Dubai Hills too.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you so much, Lara, for all this talk. And I definitely know more about physiotherapy and KINETIKA today.
Thank you. It was great to be here with you.
Thank you. And that's all for today. See you next time. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Bye.